Hey everybody, this is Jonathan Kirsting here, bringing you the business as usual. I'm filling in for Audrey Russo. She's having some issues with her laptop, so last minute switch. For the time being, I'll be leading the conversation today. So hopefully, Audrey will be back in the groove of things tomorrow, or maybe later in this episode. So first and foremost, as always, we want to thank our sponsors that make all of this great programming happen. It's hard to believe. I think we're now like on our close to our 60th episode of this thing. So we've just been bringing you all types of fun, great stories. And actually, business as usual was kind of the inspiration for what we're going to be talking about today. And before we do that, of course, we want to thank Huntington Bank. They've been with us since day one to make this happen. If you don't know Huntington, you've got to know these guys, especially when it comes to all things SBA. They are the #1 SBA lender and all around good friends and good people that can hook you up and help you out. That is absolutely, positively, for sure. So as Audrey always does in her beginning of these webcasts, there's some rules here just to keep things all cool. Everyone's mics are muted just to keep the noise down. I know my dogs bark like crazy all the time. They're always reaching for the mute button. And of course, we have a chat section to ask questions. We really encourage interactivity on these calls. We want to keep it fun and lively. And but try not to, we're not here to like sell wares and services. It's just to ask the questions. And we all know that by now. Everyone's been really good at obeying those rules. That is for sure. So today's show, I'm just super pumped about because we're talking about what we are just launching today. It's the first day of summer. It's hard to believe that summer is upon us now. Like, where did the time go? And so we are spinning up what is our Summer of 50 Pittsburgh Tech Stories. And we're doing that with the help of Comcast, just completely fired up to do this. So what is the Summer of Stories? We're going to tell 50 stories between now and, of course, the end of summer, which I believe is around September 20th, 21st. I'm sure there's a meteorologist out there somewhere that'll give me the exact time when it's like 2:03 in the morning, when it does become the autumnal equinox or something to that effect. But anyhow, during this nice like 90 days, we're going to be telling the coolest stories happening in Pittsburgh's tech sector. And this all kind of started with business as usual way back in March when we fired this thing up because we wanted to connect to our members, right? And as we were doing this, our members were reaching out to us saying, hey, we want to be on business as usual. We want to be on Tech Vibe Radio. We have a story to tell. We're surviving this pandemic. We're finding ways to innovate around this pandemic. We're helping other people through this pandemic. And we had so many stories, we didn't know what to do with them all. So I created a little experiment called One Mic Stand where we told 50 stories. And as we kind of evolved it, we realized we want to tell more of these stories. And that's where Comcast stepped in. They're like, guys, we want to be part of this with you guys. I mean, we've been partnering with Comcast, I think, forever. Like, it probably goes back to like before it was Comcast, back in like 1983, as far as that is. And so what we're going to do is over the course of the entire summer is tell these stories one by one. It's video, it's audio. You can find it on a YouTube channel. It's going to be on our website. It's also across all the major podcast platforms. And I just can't wait to get cracking because there's so many stories to be told. And as we tell these stories, we are trying to raise awareness of the digital divide, which has been brought up so many times as doing business as usual. One of our first guests was Neighborhood Allies as they spun up the Beyond the Laptops. And that all started with us helping them raise some money to put laptops into students' hands at Pittsburgh public schools. Like, our minds were blown as to how many students couldn't connect. And as we learned more about that, we learned that Comcast was making sure that they had the signal in order to get the computers to link up. So all these pieces kind of came together and they said, you know what, guys, let's do this project. And as we do it, we are going to raise more money for the Neighborhood Allies and for the Beyond the Laptops project, which is why we have Vanessa Buffry here today. She is our official fifth Beatle of this show, 100%. It's like, we're gonna pay you royalties pretty soon, Vanessa, for being on the show so many times. And we also have Mimran stopping by today with Comcast to talk about why they want to sponsor our storytelling and how they work with Neighborhood Allies and all the other great stuff that these guys have done to keep us connected during the pandemic. And he even brought a test case with us, Steve Fleischauer, today, who's actually using some of the business essentials in order to get his business up and running, which he accidentally started the beginning of COVID-19. And he's up and running and he's doing great work. So we got a lot to kick off today. So many stories to be told this summer. And I'm going to run out of breath pretty soon. And so, Vanessa, let's start with you because I want everyone to know about what's going on with the digital divide, what Neighborhood Allies is about, and of course, the Beyond the Laptops. And then we're going to jump over to Aaron to talk about what Comcast has done. And before you know it, we'll be eating lunch. It'll be 12:30. We'll be out of here.
All right. I think that's my cue. I don't want to keep you waiting.
Man. Set it up. Absolutely.
I don't want to keep the audience from Steve's story because that really piqued my interest. So I'll keep it brief. I just shared a link to our website, beyondthelaptops.org, which is a wonderful resource to see what we're up against and also what we've done and where we're going next. I'll very briefly go into some of those statistics. When coronavirus started, a day after the lockdown, the Digital Inclusion Division at Neighborhood Allies was on the case to try to activate as many laptops as possible to get into community members' hands. The reason being was that not just that people had to do their school remotely, but for some families in the Pittsburgh area, they had no devices in the household, which constituted a complete blackout.
Yeah.
During coronavirus, it was like, this is how you bank. This is how you order your groceries. You can't go out. This is how you get the news. This is how you connect with families. Some of our computers, for example, went to the Department of Human Services, so people with children in the foster care system could fundamentally connect with family members, could receive telehealth services. And then, of course, we contributed a large number of computers to Pittsburgh Public Schools for students to be able to do their work remotely. And as Jonathan said, the big gist of that initiative began with the help of the Pittsburgh Tech Council, who helped connect us to their membership base, many of whom are in the audience today, who contributed devices, contributed money, contributed expertise, and as an entire city, we were able to activate about 1,600 laptops. Our announcement last week was that we connected 1,000 households, which is about 3,100 individuals who now have internet access through Comcast Internet Essentials. And we're still chugging at it. So
how much, I mean, a lot of money's been raised so far. I mean, the
yeah. dollar
amount is just astounded me. It's like, whoa. And then we set the goal even higher. So tell us about that.
Yes, we did. So we started off with a challenge grant, which was generously put together with the lead of Aurora, the self-driving car company. They originally, with partners from foundations and other tech companies, contributed $200,000, and we were able to match that. I think we're actually not quite there. We're just like 7,000 away from getting the other 200,000 to make a total of 400,000.
We got to make that happen. Come on, that's going to be ridiculous. I know that we're going to at least help you do that through what we're doing here with our Summer of 50 Pittsburgh Tech Stories. Because what we're doing is on this, anytime we interview somebody and anytime we promote our podcasts and video casts, we're saying, come on, just make a small donation, $20, $50, whatever that is, and help get a laptop into some students' hands, because we're not trying to just do refurbished stuff. We want brand new equipment as well. We want the best of the best for these kids to make sure they're good to go for many years to come, as far as that is. So I'm throwing the challenge down right now, people. You've got to step up, listen to these fun stories, get inspired, and then make a donation and make that happen. So I'm excited to be working with you guys this summer. It's going to be a fun 90 days. I'm fired up. You can't tell. So anyhow, so Vanessa, we're going to circle back and ask you a couple more questions as we go along. I'm really excited to bring on Aaron here. Aaron, thanks for being part of this today, and really can't thank you enough for Comcast support of Tech Council initiatives and things like this. We literally could not do this work without you guys, and we're looking forward to opening a bunch of ears and eyes to learn about some of the great things happening in Pittsburgh's innovation sector. So first off, what's your background? What do you do with Comcast? And then why in the heck do you like hanging out with the Tech Council and helping us tell fun stories?
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to partner with you. We're just as excited to spend time with you, Jonathan, and all the great work that Vanessa is doing, and excited to share our story with Steve today as well. But so what I do is, my role is I actually lead Comcast business for one of our regions. So Comcast is comprised of 15 geographical regions throughout the country. And our region here, which is headquartered in Pittsburgh, is called the Keystone region, aptly named. And so my team is Comcast Business, about 150 professionals all in.
Excellent.
Sales folks, operations folks, marketing folks. And that's what I do. And so why we like to hang out with you, aside from the fact that you're really cool and you guys are a lot of fun.
Well, keep going. I like the way you're talking here.
Right. Really, no, keep them coming, right? Well, first of all, to that point, I have to speak kind of personally for a minute, because, I've been in my role. I've been with Comcast, 6 years. And I've been in my role 8 months, but one of the very first things I did in my role was actually attend the Tech 50 Awards last year.
Oh, cool.
And had the opportunity to speak. And, you know, if you've been in Pittsburgh more than 5 minutes, you know this is a hub of technology. You know how cool this place is. But that night in particular really blew me away. You know, the 50 stories themselves of that particular night were incredible. And I'm particularly reminded of the robot that kind of goes along the tanks that looks for the specific, you know, stress fractures. I remember that particular company.
Our friends at Gecko Robotics, absolutely.
And I just, that story in particular really just, I was blown away. But, you know, I think as we also think about this too, you started to call this out earlier in our kind of pre-conversation. The real story is that businesses are trying to figure out their way right now. We see this every day. You know, the stock market is doing some historic things and gaining historically, but the real story is that you've got businesses that are trying to figure out how to reopen. Some of them are reopened. They're running at 50% capacity. Others are figuring out how to deal with the influx of new business because there is a silver lining for them. And it is our desire to, you know, help and find that way. Because the thing I would just end on is, and I love the work that you all are doing, the DNA of Pittsburgh is its resilience, quite frankly.
Love it, man. I love it.
People talk all the time about the Renaissance and everything that happened in the 80s and 90s. Well, I'm here to tell you that, in my opinion, it's happening again. And this is just another example. And I think, frankly, you all at the Tech Council are at the center of it. And I'm personally grateful, as is Comcast. And that's why we want to do this work with you.
I appreciate it. And that's, like I said, we're getting ready to roll. So we released our first one today. And the first guy that we interviewed, he's actually going to be on Business as Usual on Friday. A guy named Po Shen Lo from XB. This guy is beyond quadruple genius. He has figured out in the course of a few weeks how to develop what is believed to be the first anonymous contact tracing app for COVID-19. Uses Bluetooth technology. And he's like, it's simple. It's a math equation. It's measuring distance. And he breaks it down into math. And so we have companies, we have people, we have women and men like Poe who are developing these types of solutions. This is solving a worldwide problem happening right here in Pittsburgh.
It's incredible.
So for us to tell those types of stories, to me, is just like super duper exciting as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And so just switching gears a little bit, I know one of the big things you talk about is businesses, you know, up and running, staying up and running, getting up and running. Mm-hmm. And the same thing that you guys have done with Neighborhood Allies here is getting that connectivity. So you're working with Neighborhood Allies to make sure that when the kids have the laptops, they can get online. Just as important as keeping our businesses online. And we have a really fun, interesting story with Steve here from Branch Creative Group, where literally opens his business up right as COVID's happening. And he worked with Comcast on with your Internet Essentials in order to get up and running and stay running. So, hey, Steve, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today. And tell us about Branch and what you guys are up to.
Absolutely. and thanks for having me on the show. I mean, this was very exciting when I got the opportunity to learn about this on Friday through Comcast, and then our rep was like, "You need to be on this. This is a good story about you." And I'm like, "Sign me up! Fantastic!"
Well, we're glad you're here. I like good stories, so yes.
I mean, we started Branch Creative Group with the premise that we were going to be the branch of an existing marketing department for either a mom and pop organization all the way up to like a Fortune 500 company, because that's the experience that we've had over the past 11 years, because we were managing partners at another Pittsburgh agency. And it seems like when we were sitting at the table with your chief marketing officers, your VPs, and also the other agencies that were involved, we were privy to so much information. We're like, this is fantastic. I mean, my background, I mean, I barely graduated from high school, and the fact that I'm here right now, and yeah, I mean, we're just like truly blessed with this. And the idea behind Branch Creative was not only to help all of our clients that reached out to us and encouraged us to actually start this business, and a lot of them actually helped fund it, which is amazing. We never thought we'd have anybody that would really invest in us like that. It's kind of crazy. But at the same time, we also wanted to give back to the community, because over many years, we've helped various Christian organizations and things like that with just whether it's a financial contribution or whether it's a volunteer initiative,
Mhm.
we wanted to create some kind of business that would just focus on giving back. You know, we don't want to be rich and whatever, but the thing is we want to help our clients. We also want to help the organizations we represent. And the best part about the whole Comcast story was none of this could have happened unless Comcast was there for us the week of the 9th.
The week
We
of
had
the ninth.
IT infrastructure. We had, I'm going up to Best Buy. I'm running up to Best Buy buying equipment and everything like that, trying to get us up and going because we already had deadlines established with the coronavirus. Things were pushed out a little bit, but still there were still some tight deadlines and we needed to get up and running because of our business model with master data management. We have to actually be working within our clients' environments, whether it's for marketing automation or, you know, like
Right.
either a catalog or whatever. But with Comcast coming in and it was up till, I think it was 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, the 7th. And we were back and forth. Is this going to happen? Yeah, you'll be fine. We're right at the cusp of shutting everything down. And, you know, and you did it. You came through for us and it was fantastic. Once we were live with internet service and phones, the IT company came in, set us all up, and we were communicating back and forth with our clients, and
Awesome.
we hit the ground running. And
so the doors were open and you were
The doors
virtually
were
running your
open.
company at that point, which is so cool. And obviously then keeping that up and running throughout this whole thing is another task within itself. So I'm
oh
curious,
yeah,
Aaron, can you tell us a little bit about, I know like throughout the whole COVID thing, Comcast put a number of really nice offers out to keep people up and running. Can you tell us about some of the different things that Comcast did? And also talk a little bit more also how you work with neighborhood allies as well too, and that engagement.
Yeah, so I would call out really just two things. So specific to the work that Vanessa's doing and Neighborhood Allies, she had referenced earlier Internet Essentials, and that is a very specific brand that we've had in place since 2011. And it originally was designed to help low-income families connect to broadband. And we've done so now with over 8 million families since 2011, which is, you know, just incredible. So what we did is, as soon as COVID hit, you know, in March, we had recognized this need, similar to what Vanessa and her team are doing. There was a need. We couldn't have folks without internet. So we actually stood up the Internet Essentials program to be free for 2 months. And our plan was to have that expire in June 30th. You know, we were talking earlier that, you know, we thought maybe this thing would be wrapped up by
It's
then.
kind of blow over by then, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
No
right. Well,
worries.
it's become a thing, as you can see. And
Exactly.
here we go. Having said that, we just announced a few days ago that we're actually now going to extend this offer all the way through the end of the year.
Oh, cool.
And so what that means is for those who haven't been signed up yet, they have the opportunity now to be signed up. And it isn't just low income families, it's actually veterans and seniors and people with disabilities.
Absolutely.
We all know that in the, you know, in any normal environment, but let alone COVID environment, to be without internet is really taking a step backwards, and we can't allow that to happen. And so that's what the Internet Essentials program is about.
I mean, Aaron, if you think about this, and I know Steve will agree, and I know Vanessa will 100% agree with me, if this pandemic were to have happened like 10 years ago, it would have been so much worse because we would not have had the connectivity and the apps and the technology to keep us up and running and actually, I hate saying this, being more efficient. I mean, I used to think I worked super hard at work doing my 50 hours a week at work, but now it's like, no, I think I was slacking because I'm just crushing it at home, unfortunately.
That's right. In fact, you're sleeping right now. Nobody even knows it.
I am, and exactly. One side of me is just completely wiped out. Well, that is so good to know that you guys have extended that out as far as that is. And then how are you then partnered up with neighborhood allies then? How are you working to make sure that students have this connectivity? Because I know there's so much talk about trying to make sure that every student be connected. And I think people often forget that lots of organizations like Comcast already are doing that. So
that's
tell
right.
me.
Well, so what we're encouraging everybody to do, just as Vanessa had called out earlier, is we're asking you to contribute, first of all, right? That's so we're strongly encouraging you to do that. The second thing is that we are actually going to work directly with neighborhood allies, specifically for the Pittsburgh Public Schools. And so while we're going to go ahead and extend that same benefit of Internet Essentials to the families of the Pittsburgh Public Schools who are eligible, Neighborhood Allies is then going to come in and actually pick up the billing beyond that 2-month period
Oh,
for
wow.
a stated period of time.
Okay.
So not only do you have now the machine necessary, now you have the 2 months that we're offering as a company with great broadband connectivity on the best
Right.
network there is. Now you have Vanessa and team jumping in and saying, okay, let's go ahead and keep this thing going so that you have the confidence to know that you can continue your schoolwork, you can continue the connectivity.
Right.
And it's just a fantastic story here in Pittsburgh.
Very much. So Vanessa, how are people reacting to this? I'm assuming it's like, whoa, okay, we're feeling a little calmer now, knowing that whatever happens in the fall, our kids are going to be able to get online and continue learning and not slide back.
Yeah, I mean, there's the reality of how cool this is, and then there's the reality of getting 1,000 different families individually figuring out how to connect to the internet. I think that the first announcement was like awesome, and then people are like, but am I eligible? What's going on here? And that's where the Pittsburgh Public Schools comes in. They have, of course, the huge network of teachers who are in regular contact with families, and people behind the scenes who also filter through and make sure that the families who are being connected to internet qualify for that internet. It's not just you get an internet, you get an internet.
Right, exactly. We all get internet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. This is really going to the families who up to now have had to make the choice of feeding their kids over getting internet. On the hierarchy of human needs, internet was lower than those base functions. Now it's actually moved up a little bit as it's such a valuable resource for connecting folks to the world. But yeah, so Pittsburgh Public Schools is stepping in. People are excited, and then I think that now we're just dealing with the after effect, which is how do you plug in the box, how do you turn it on, how do you use your computer? These things that we learned a long time ago, and then reinforced every day. Some people are opening a computer for the first time, figuring out how to click, type, open things. Just try to put yourself back there.
I know, that's crazy. Yeah, but that I feel like that gap's being bridged a little bit here, so I feel like there's off to a good start. We have a comment from somebody here in the crowd here from Dan Griffin. He says, first off, thank you to Comcast for this incredible community service. He says, how do we share the offer with families we think would be in need of the service? He says he's working with the Hope in Homewood campaign and would like to spread the good news.
Yeah, so no, go ahead, please, Vanessa.
Well, I want to say that if you're a Pittsburgh Public School family who indicated on the home tech survey, which went out in March, that you did not have internet access, those will be the first families that are connected. And then there will be a second round of, we have X amount of accounts left over, who still needs one. And then if you're not in Pittsburgh Public Schools and you need help connecting to the internet, we have set up sort of individual processing through our financial empowerment centers. It's Pittsburgh FECs. They are run under the mayor's office of the city of Pittsburgh, and through that you get a free one-on-one financial counseling, and they will help you budget for digital access. And in some cases, if you really need it, that budget will involve actually connecting you to digital access with a stipend.
Very cool. It's good that the resources are out there. You just got to find them. And now it's great to know that you just go to Neighborhood Allies and you guys can be that clearinghouse for that, and you're going to point them in the right direction, which I think is fantastic. So I'm going to switch gears yet again. I feel like I'm like changing gears all over the place, but I want to get back to the business side, because what I love about this is the fact that it's schools and children that are benefiting, but also small businesses like Branch Creative. So maybe Steve, talk to us a little bit more about how you're going to continue to use your service and how it continues to allow you to operate your business as if like everything's kind of cool right now.
Well, I mean, the more we get out into the communities and things like that and start expanding our business model, like I said, originally this whole idea was brought on by understanding the whole virtual workplace. And we firmly, I mean, that's the thing, we trust everybody that we work with. And originally, like I said, we were just going to be a support mechanism for companies, but now we have numerous contributors that are all part of this whole virtual workspace for us, that are understanding the strategy and just moving the company into a whole different area, which is fantastic. But as far as the Comcast relationship, I tell you what, we're going to be the building we're in right now on Water Dam Road. Find out we have a dedicated fiber line. So as the business keeps getting larger, we're going to be tapping into that as well.
Things can get fun and fancy at this point now. That's kind of
absolutely. Yeah, no, everything has been like, it's almost like a miracle. Everything is like been aligned perfectly, and everything's been working flawlessly, which, I mean, I hate saying that because it's kind of
don't jinx anything.
exactly.
You'll be
I know,
fine. It's
but
working.
no,
Good stuff, man. No, don't be afraid.
everybody that's tunneling into like our virtual or our VPN network and everything like that, it's just, there are no hiccups whatsoever with this service. And the IT group that we're using is fantastic. They understood the challenges that we were facing, and it's just, just keep praying that it continues the momentum that we're on.
Super cool. Super cool. So we're getting close to winding this thing up. I know Audrey always likes to end these things right on time. We want to be cognizant of everyone's time because we are all super busy. So I kind of like wrap things up maybe with Aaron here real fast, and just kind of just once again, just reiterate like how Comcast has been there, how it's going to continue to be there. And really tell me if there's any kind of cool story you think I should be telling this summer. Anything you want me to explore, because I'm going deep. I'm going all around the place to find the stories that you're just not going to get by like opening the paper or just finding them anywhere.
Yeah, I would just say, similar to the story Steve just told, and you would expect me to say this, I'm employed by Comcast, you expect me to be a promoter, and all those things are true. But if you could kind of set that aside for just a second, if I were an objective observer and had a COVID company response report card, Comcast is going to get an A+ all day long. And I say that because of two fronts. One, on the employee side, when you look at the totality of our organization, NBC Universal, Sky, all of Comcast, we have 190,000+ employees. On just the Comcast piece, Xfinity and Comcast Business, we have 85,000. We figured out how to get 90% of those people working from home in the span of just a matter of a few weeks.
Wow.
At the ground zero of COVID, which was, of course, the Ides of March, right? The 15th. Right. On the customer side, we have 30 million customer relationships. And so think about this. You're March the 15th. You've got to think about the safety of your employee body, which ranges almost 200,000. And then you also have the whole world breathing down your neck saying, hey, listen, this network better work, right, because we need it now more than ever.
Talk about pressure testing, man. Good Lord.
I can't imagine an organization going through this kind of tension that we figured out. And not only did our network stand up, our network is flourishing, right? I mean, when you look at the stories that Steve just told, we had a major hospital system reach out to us and say, we need a 10 gigabit circuit stood up. It normally takes us 90 days to build that circuit. We stood it up in 5 days because they had 5,000 employees that had to work from home with literally lives depending on it. These are the kinds of stories that you don't read about in the paper, but that we see every single day inside our company. And I couldn't be louder and prouder to work for a company like Comcast.
Well, I'm going to circle back with you because I want to talk more about that story about standing up that size of a network in 5 days, because that's going to be a good story. There'll be some good stuff going on there.
Yeah.
I can't thank everyone enough for being part of this. Just remind everybody, it is the summer of 50 PGH Tech Stories. Comcast is making this happen. We're trying to raise more money for neighborhood allies and Beyond the Laptops initiative. Listen to the stories, watch the stories, make a small donation, make a huge difference in some students' life as far as that goes, because they're all going back to school in a few months. I want to make sure all the kids have laptops. They all got the most kick-butt connectivity going on out there. And if it takes me telling 50 more stories, I'm going to do it. Simple as that. Can't thank you guys enough for being part of this. Can't thank Huntington enough. They've been with us since day one, sponsoring this show. I mean, that is such a commitment to know that these stories are so important. We continue to get them out here at the Pittsburgh Technology Council. And Audrey Russo will be back with us tomorrow. Her computer was down, but I do believe Comcast is sending like a SWAT team in just to fix her computer for her, maybe. I think Aaron's calling in a helicopter to land in her backyard, maybe, and take care of some business, but it's all good. Right. She'll be back. I know she's a much more poised host than I am. I tend to get a little too excited. So don't let my enthusiasm freak you out. This has been Jonathan Gerson with the Pittsburgh Tech Council.
Great.
All right, and I think we are out, guys. Good job, everybody. Good talking to everybody.
Oh, great job to you, Jonathan. Way to pivot.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Good luck with your new business there, Steve. That sounds really awesome, man. That's cool, stepping out on your own and keeping it running. And Vanessa, as always, can't appreciate you enough being part of it. And I'll circle back with Tim to get a little thing made up so we can link our sites up and get some love going back and forth. So.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Cool. All right, guys.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
See ya.